Both of my parents were amazingly loving people that struggled with the disease of alcoholism for the majority of my childhood. Home life was unstable, unpredictable, scary, and it was really difficult. I couldn't have friends over because of their addiction. My dad would sometimes yell at me in the evenings. It was very unpredictable. And I felt a lot of anger. I had a really hard time, especially in high school and college, forgiving them. They constantly asked for forgiveness, but then would slip back into the drinking. And it was extremely challenging. Things got worse with them. And so my brother and I, when we were in college, decided to do an intervention. With my extended family support, we traveled to their house. We cut off complete communication with them after reading letters, unless they went to inpatient rehab. Sadly, neither decided to go to inpatient rehab, and so we left the house devastated. We didn't speak to my parents for months, for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for our birthdays. And I harbored a lot of unforgiveness because they had chosen the disease over communication with their 2 children. It was really difficult. We found out through extended family that my mom decided to get some help, and she went to outpatient rehab. My dad had quit drinking cold turkey. They didn't do it the way that we had presented it in our intervention, but they did quit cold turkey, my dad. And so we decided to have a reconciliation day with them after months of sobriety. It was the best day that my family's ever had together. There was no alcohol. We shared stories, we hugged, we cried, and my mom even said, "Thank you for saving my life. I was only existing before, but now I'm really living." And they asked for forgiveness, and my brother and I forgave them. I wish that that was the end of the difficulties with my family, but it was just the beginning. A week and a half later, I got the most devastating call of my life. My mom had had a massive heart attack and was rushed to the hospital, and it looked like she wasn't going to make it. This couldn't possibly have been God's plan after the intervention. I was angry at God for having this happen. I was angry at my mom for essentially doing this to herself with years of alcohol abuse. And so we rushed to the hospital, and she was in a coma for a week. After a week, we decided to pull her off of life support, and she passed away. It was absolutely heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. But I found a journal after that she had written in where she had found God again, and she had found Jesus, and she had asked for forgiveness even in the journal. And so after therapy and processing with the support of family and friends, we forgave her and began to move on and heal. My dad, a year and a half later, gave me another devastating phone call where he said he had just been diagnosed with stage 4 terminal throat cancer. My mom had just died and I was just beginning to heal, and now my dad had terminal cancer. He was given 8 months to live. He ended up living 5 years, and we developed a deep friendship. He found God in his life again, and we had many conversations where we talked about the difficult things that had happened in the past. He realized his errors and he asked for forgiveness. And I forgave him, but I still felt anger. I felt anger towards God for the tragedies that kept happening. And I felt anger towards my dad for robbing me of a lot of my childhood and for essentially a disease that ended up with throat cancer for him. He ended up passing away in 2017. And I processed a lot with my brother after the fact. Where do you go when traumatic things happen? How do you forgive people when they've hurt you over many, many years of your life? The only way I did that was through Jesus' example of forgiveness. He gives us radical, extreme forgiveness time and time again. I'm so imperfect and I mess up all the time. And he never counts records of my wrongs, and he forgives me. And because I'm a Christ follower, I want to follow his example and forgive. So I ultimately was able to release the anger and release the unforgiveness that I harbored towards my parents and view them for who they really were in Christ.